what's going on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the support y'all been giving me and subscribing to the channel. I can't tell Renegade Media how grateful I am, for putting me out there. Hopefully some of y'all can find my stories kind of interesting. It's just basically every everybody has a story to tell. Everybody's story is different. And I guess every story is worth hearing. So this story, I'm gonna stick to one topic because I tend to go all over the place sometimes. I tend to rant. So this episode, I'm gonna call it where I'm from. So basically, y'all already know I'm from the north side of Dallas, Texas. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. I'm raised right there off of what you would be like Royal Lane, North Haven, off of Brockbank. Anybody that's familiar from Dallas, Texas knows the C-store. I went to Herbert Marcus, went to Marsh Middle School. Didn't go all the way to 9th grade. Got kicked out. So I grew up on that side of town. Anybody from Dallas knows that area. That's where I was. Those were my stomping grounds. I moved out on my own around 13, 14 with my big bro Omar. He's around. But it's just the consequences of the streets. He ain't there. Mentally he ain't all there right now. So it's just like a shell of what he used to be. But back to the topic. So, I moved out on my own, 13, 14 in Dallas with my big bro. He already has the plug, he's doing his thing, So I had no choice but to gravitate, and let alone the area that I'm from. You'd wake up in the mornings to go to school, and catch the bus, and you'd have like maybe, 100 plus motherfuckers out there just waiting to get picked up for daily labor, and it's still like that to this day, So it was, some of them dudes were honest, from Mexico, trying to provide and send money back to their family. But some of them, were junkies, man. Some of them were dolphins, and those were the ones that, I gravitated to. Those were the ones that would ask me, "Hey, man, you got anything?" And I guess because they would see me smoking a blunt, going on the way to school, because my brother already had it at the time. You with me, man? So, 14, 15, 16, 17, I'm in the streets, selling weed. Started off selling weed, and then from weed, you step up to something that's quicker money, I moved on to crack. Crack was the money maker at my time. It was quicker. I mean, you stay up all night. One day you can basically sell out your whole whatever you had. It just depended on you how much you wanted, how many hours you wanted to put into it. And especially if it was straight drop. The shit that I cooked, that I learned from my partner how to cook. It was sometimes you would lose a gram. Sometimes you would lose a 2, but the potency will always they kept on coming back. They would always come back. So I'm from the north side. From anywhere from because North Dallas is big, man. You could 635 to 75 or 35 to 75, and then you got from Forest all the way to Northwest Highway and to North Park, and then it's a big area, man. So when I define my North Dallas area, is from Forest all the way to Northwest Highway, and everything in between on my stomping grounds. I stayed at Chapel Creek for many years on Webb Chapel. I stayed behind, I can't remember the apartments' names, but I stayed behind the apartment behind Fiesta, off Webb Chapel for numerous years. I trapped, they weren't apartments, they were just basically traps, at the time, my traps. So coming from my side, that's all there really was. It was either that option or gang banging or breaking into shit. So everybody, it was easy for everybody to gravitate to something. And the gangs around that time, when I was growing up in the 90s, You know, on my side of town, on my little area, you know, was the prominent one was VNS 13. You know, that was the prominent one. You know, then whatever splinter off of that, you know, like North Haven Park, and then now you got like the people from Carrollton Farmers Branch claiming their own thing too. You know, I don't know if they still do, but it's basically a splinter off VNS 13. You know, that's the gangs that were around here. You know, then you had your little cliques that your little MS-13. You know, then you had the first, like I said, North Dallas is big. You know, those are just in my little area. You go further, you have the Mendy V, and then you have some other ones up towards what used to be the Valley View Mall, and towards that little area. And then you got other ones off of Forest and Adelia, and then you got some other ones off of North Park. You know, but in my little vicinity of where I would roam, the prominent one was VNS 13, North Haven Park. You had Webb Chapel Crips, rolling 60s. Those were the pretty dominant ones. You know what I mean, man? And you had to either give one of these. And at the time they had another one called Love Field Players, man. You know, but that was like another side of town. Yeah, they're in the north too, but they're like the Love Field area, man. They're more they're you can say they're north too, man. You know, but that's a different area. You know, that's out of my vicinity. You know, I mainly stayed in my area where I was familiar and knew people, and you know, but like everything else, man, times change. You know, every year, you know, there's a young buck jumping off the porch every year. You know, so there's by the time I left it, man, you gotta understand, every year somebody's jumping off the porch, doing the same thing. You know, is people lose track of who is who. You know, unless you stay in that. You know. So on this episode, it's like, you know, that's where I'm from. You know, I'm just letting you know where I'm from, the north side of Dallas, Texas. You know, my vicinity. You know, I spent most of my time there. You know, like I said, the prominent gang was VNS 13. You know, I know a couple of them. You know, but that's an old generational gang too. You know, that's I might be wrong, I might be right. You know, but when I was growing up in Carrollton at the time too, you know, which is not, it's just like a couple of lights, man. You know, it's like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a couple of lights until you get to Dallas. You know, in Carrollton at one time there used to be a gang called HC, Hispanic Connection. You know, in my apartments, in Cooks Creek apartments. You know, and they got raided and they got arrested, and they kind of moved up to where I ended up moving up to just a few lights up, and then it turns into Dallas. You know, and I think that's where they came from as well. You know, but I'm really not too familiar. You know, because I came later into, like I said, every year there's a young buck jumping off the porch. You know, so when I jumped off the porch, man, ain't no telling how many other older homeboys that were there before me. You know, but I just knew the ones that were above me at the time. You know, I didn't know nobody else. I just knew the big homies that put me on to that set. You know, the one I got crossed into was North Haven Park. You know, that's because that's the area that we were in. You know, we were in a different area. You know, VNS was prominent in the Webb Chapel area, Norwest Highway. You know, that was their vicinity. You know, anywhere in them apartments or up the houses, Durango, or all up in there. You know, that was them. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm from, man. I'm from the north side of Dallas, Texas. You know, and I apologize to everybody else that, you know, that I was off track. This time I kind of try to stay on track. You know, it was a basic video. You know, thank you for the new subscribers that they're coming from Renegade Media. You know, I'm very grateful. You know, hopefully this channel grows. You know, and if I can help any youth, you know, just, you know, it ain't always everything that shines ain't gold. You know what I mean? Just just my thing is just be yourself. You know, man, because not being yourself, you're gonna end up in a situation that you don't want to be in, and you might have to do something that you might regret, or you don't want to do it, and then you're gone. You know what I mean? So it's just be yourself, man. You know, for all the kids out there, man, you know, if you got friends and if you like gaming and you like playing PlayStation, you like chilling, you like watching YouTube videos, you know, you like being collecting Pokemon cards, and then you got a homeboy that's he wants to go out there and party. He starts smoking already. He's talking about skipping. He wants to bang chicks. But if that ain't you, then don't be that, man. Just be you. Be you. Continue being that kid, man, that collects Pokemon cards. Because once you go down the road, sometimes it ain't easy to come back from it, man. Sometimes you got to deal with the consequences, man. You see stuff and you do stuff that sometimes you really wish you didn't have to go through, man. Because at the end it was trying to be somebody that you really weren't. You know what I mean, man? But that's what made the streets make you, man. The streets change you, man. They sometimes they change you for the good, and sometimes they turn you into something that you don't want to be. And I also apologize for the stuttering, man. It's just part of the PTSD, it comes with the territory, man. And I apologize, I guess I will, the confidence is there, man. Don't get me wrong, man. I got the most confidence in myself in the world, but at the same time, it's like everything else in the world. When you try something for the first time, you get the nerves, it's like it ain't easy the first time, like everything else when you try it the first time. Everybody got the butterflies in their stomach, it ain't easy, but hopefully, I can keep y'all entertained with some of my stories, and like I also said, on my next episode, I'm going to be more into detail on why I went to prison, my time in prison, my experiences in prison, what I went through, what I seen, and like I also said, I was a short timer, I'm not going to come in here and say, hey, I did 10, 15 plus, I did 3 years, and I did, in my next video, I will get into it, I wasn't even supposed to hit a unit, I was a short timer, but, they sent me off to a transfer facility, they sent me off to a kickback unit called, it was a sugar land called Central and unit. They ended up closing that unit down because that unit was old, man, but it was nothing, but it was bunks, it was bunks, but, I don't want to go on off the topic, my bad, man. This topic is just, where I'm from, on the, just let everybody know where I'm from, you got any comments or questions, just drop them in the comment section. On the next episode, it's going to be more detail of my prison experience, what I seen, what I did, my experiences, basically, my story of my prison journey, and like I said, it was just a short time, I have more street stories, man, that, after you listen to the street stories, you're going to be questioning yourself like, damn, how come this guy ain't dead, how come he ain't doing life, how come, did he tell, or nah, man, it's just, I ain't the biggest dude, man, you can see it off my picture, man. I ain't the biggest dude, you know what I mean, man? I'm small, man. But what I do have big is this. Got a big head, man. Big head, a good head. I'm outsmarted, outwitted, outthink, I survived, you know what I mean? Like I said, I ain't the biggest dude, you know what I mean? So, ain't nobody scared of a little guy. But then take in mind, I had older dudes listening to what telling them what to do, you know what I mean? Out here on the streets, so man, stay tuned, man. Appreciate it, man. Just like I said, man, just be yourself, man.